Nelson Peltz, the billionaire investor who leans more to the right than to the left and had the good common sense to say, hey, Disney, what the heck are you doing? Well, he's just exited, according to CNBC and New York Times. So these are reports right now. They have not been confirmed via any SEC filing, but it has been reported that Nelson Peltz has sold his Disney stake, and he got out at roughly $120 a share. Good for Nelson. You know, we wrote about this over at 76 Research. You know, 76 Research, that's my financial research company. I founded it with a longtime friend named Rob Horton, who had been on Wall Street for so many years, superstar, stock picker, fund manager. And he and I teamed up to create 76 Research with the idea that we wanted to make sure that you guys got a chance to get some of the very specialized research that wasn't tainted by all the Wall Street sort of backroom stuff that goes on, and good quality research that typically you only get on Wall Street. We wanted to make sure that everyday investors had a shot at getting this stuff too. So you can take that research, and we have like 10 to 15 picks in each of the portfolios, and create your own portfolio based on it. I encourage you to do that. We also have a special going on right now, 20% off. And I'm going to try and remember this code word. I told Rob, we got to get easier code words because Trish can't remember them. Things like Trish loves gold, that's easy. But this one is, let's see, what is it? 76 USA 24. 76 USA 24, 76research.com. You can just type that in, and you'll get 20% off any of your subscriptions. But 76 Research, we did profile Disney. And let me just tell you, Peltz is a bright guy because he got out at, it's believed to be around $120 a share, which would put it near its highs. Remember how they had the big proxy battle, the big shareholder vote, and the shareholders, stupidly, if you ask me, decided to stick with Iger and Iger's approach to dealing with the company. Now, Iger is better than the other Bob, right? Like this is Bob 2.0 or 3.0, we can call him, because Bob Iger was first in this seat, and then it was Bob Chapek, and now it's Bob Iger again. So Iger's better than Chapek in the, I hope anyway, he's going to be more inclined to look at profitability. But without Nelson there saying, hey, what are you doing? What's the deal with Snow White and the seven special people that we can't actually call dwarfs? You know, we got the tall one, the short one, the male, the female, everybody, you know, different races, different genders, the whole shebang, because we just want to sell tickets, right? I mean, what's the deal with Star Wars and all this, you know, stuff they got going on with the Star Wars franchise? You don't want to ruin the Star Wars franchise because you can't focus on good storytelling. And Nelson also had the point. This was a good one. Like, why do you just keep remaking the same stuff over and over again? Why don't you have anything new? Why is it all sequels? And by the way, while we're at it, who the heck is going to replace Bob Iger? Because Bob Chapek was no great shakes. And Iger has historically been very, very sensitive. And I actually know this. I've interviewed him many times. And one of the like no-go areas was, don't ask him about the succession plan. He never liked to talk about retirement because I think he just wants to stay in the job forever. Well, you know, we're all realists. And at some point, it's going to have to change. And if they don't have a succession plan, then the stock's going to go to like it's been doing. I mean, this is a stock that was up around $200 just a couple years ago. And let's see the wild ride it's been on. I think we have a stock chart, Drew. I want to show you this. 76 Research, we were looking at this. So this is actually going back to November when it was trading at, okay, here we go with my eyesight. Okay, so you were at $80. This is, I think, when Nelson got in. $80 a share. And then he rode this all the way up. He made a whole lot of noise. And then there was the big shareholder vote. And they voted to stick with Iger. And I guess that's when he got out. So, you know, Rob and I were saying, like, look, if it starts going down even further, it might start looking interesting again. I know a lot of you hate Disney, and I get it. But at some point, really, there might be some value, especially within the resorts section of the business. Like maybe entertainment's done, right? Entertainment's changed. Let's face it, you don't need to go to the movies anymore. You don't need to watch ABC News, a Disney product anymore. And you certainly don't need to watch this lady anymore. Does anybody still watch The View other than the clips that I show you so we can all laugh? I mean, this woman is utterly losing it. I don't know what she's going to do if Trump's elected again. Let's go to Whoopi Goldberg on The View. Disney owned.
I'm going to be, on day one, I'm going to be a dictator. Who says it to you, tells you, I'm going to put you people away. I'm going to take all the journalists, I'm going to take all the gay folks, I'm going to move you all around and disappear you. If that's the country you want, you know who to vote for. If that's not the country you want, you have to make a decision.
Okay. All right. Again, the theme of you got to make a decision. You see, again, they have no policy. They got nothing good to run on. So it's just going to be good versus evil. And they're going to hammer that thing all day long. In fact, Jen Psaki, former communications director, was just on MSNBC within the last, 12, 24 hours saying, we got to stop with our accomplishments. Stop talking about the accomplishments and focus on Trump. Focus on how bad Trump would be, etc. So look, some people are getting that message, including Whoopi Goldberg over at The View. They have, of course, no accomplishments, so they can't focus on those things. They have only one thing to focus on, and that would be personality. But people are over it because you know what? They got burned. They got burned for the last 3 years. Because Biden is in office. Well, you know who else is about to get burned? Possibly, it would be Whoopi Goldberg and all the big talent like Joy Behar that they have at ABC News. ABC News owns and produces The View. And let me tell you, people are not consuming media that way anymore. I mean, that may be in part why no one's buying what the big networks have been selling, which is Joe Biden. Because you're all coming to places like this, to YouTube, or other streaming platforms where you can get pretty authentic, pretty raw. You know, the sound bites don't always play. And, Drew and I, we were working together pretty hard. We got a few other people behind the scenes, but it is bare bones, no prompter, nothing pre-scripted, just really authentic stuff. It's very freeing for me. I love it, actually. And I think it's freeing for you as a viewer. Reminder to subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff, make a comment. But I think that this is part of the change that we are embracing right now as a society. And so people are getting their information in vastly different ways, and the networks are not going to be able to keep up with this anymore. So much so that Bob Iger himself, the CEO of Disney, he knows it. He knows it. He told my former colleague over at CNBC, David Faber, this at Sun Valley's big shindig last June, I believe. We have the tape. I want you to hear it.
Transformative work is dealing with businesses that are no-growth businesses and what to do about them, and particularly the linear business, which we are expansive in our thinking about, and we're going to look expansively about opportunities there because clearly it's a business that is going to continue to struggle.
Well, let's stop there for a second then and let me ask you about it. We're talking, I guess, ABC, the network, the stations, but then the cable networks as well.
Yes, correct.
FX, Nat Geo. Is it possible you would look to sell them?
We're going to be expansive. I think if you can interpret what that word means.
Got it? Get it? We're going to be expansive. You can interpret what that means. I'll tell you what it means. It means that Disney wants to sell off its traditional television businesses, including, by the way, ESPN. And I have good sourcing suggesting that they are looking to private equity shops and even Nexstar Communications, which runs a great little network called News Nation. I'm actually on it tonight. And they're in talks with different possible players. Now, he hasn't sold it yet. He hasn't sold ABC News yet. Perhaps he'll wait till after the election, but I can guarantee you, whoever buys it, think about these private equity shops, for example, whoever comes in and buys it, they're going to want to make a profit. Well, the days of big television networks with 50 people working on a show, or probably 200 people that are working on The View, those days are over. Okay? Because you don't need that many people to actually communicate. And you can actually, through this medium, target people pretty darn well. I mean, I'm sure you guys have had to sit through some ads and that kind of thing. Sorry. And I have some ads, but it's free. I mean, that's the good news. You can watch this for free. And, advertisers are a vital part of the business. But if an advertiser knows that they can find you because you like Trish Regan, and they know with certainty that they will find you here on the Trish Regan channel, it's very different than ABC News or The View, because they don't really know that they're going to find you. They don't really know that you have watched that commercial. The metrics aren't there to prove it. Versus here, where you actually have a very direct line to people as an advertiser, as do I, right, as a communicator, as an analyst, and you to me. And so it's a very different kind of thing. And because the costs of producing this are so much less, the advertisers are able to target who they want with purpose and more economically than if they were to advertise on the big networks. And so what happens to the big networks? Bye-bye. What happens to Whoopi Goldberg? Bye-bye. I mean, she's very proud of saying she has a contract that came up the other day. She said, I have a contract. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, well, a lot of times, and it happens in television all the time, you sign the contract and then it's bye-bye, right? That's just kind of the expense fee they pay as you walk out the door. Maybe they'll honor her contract and treat it as a write-off. We're going to write off that loss of Whoopi or Joy or whoever else. I mean, I would think anybody who's making a lot of money at ABC would be on the chopping block when that sale happens, if it happens. It needs to happen. I mean, I don't think Disney can really survive without it. You can learn more about Disney. Look at one of our back issues of the 76 Report. I believe we wrote about it maybe 4 weeks ago or so. I encourage you to go to 76report.com. Sign up for the free subscription. Sign up for the 76 Report. Get the discount, 20% off. All right, I wrote it down, 76 USA 20. Type that in and you will get 20% off any of the subscriptions that you buy right there with that coupon code.